concept of that.
Billy explains that the world we live in, or the world that we perceive that he lives in and that we live in today, it's a dangerous world if it doesn't have free will, or that we don't perceive that we have free will, especially when no one claims responsibility for their actions, because it becomes like to a sort of standpoint where like if we don't have free will and no one claims our actions, how do we go about living in a just society that holds people responsible for what they've done? Like, how do we decide whether or not they are just because like it was set to happen that they shouldn't be punished for what they when they talk about like when the Trumpeters talk about everything it happens for a reason. The question comes, should we like let's just bring up like the 9/11 bombs for example, like should we like let that happen because it was like should we let that go because it was supposed to happen, or do something about it?
I think in the structure of time, like the way it's planned to be per se, and with the Trumpeters, like our response, our violent response to their violent doing of 9/11, it's all intended.
Yes.
Like say like when people think I'm going to do this to change this, like no, that's going to happen, and like what you do and what happens as a result of that is what was going to happen after all. Like it was you stressing out and changing plans just to avoid having this happen was what was structured to happen. There was known that you were going to stress out like that, and I mean reaction is always necessary when it's applicable, but that doesn't mean like because actions aren't just let's let this go because it was supposed to happen. No,
Right.
And so like when we talk about the fourth dimensions and how only the Trumpeters see it and that humans cannot, with like the seven sexes thing, we can like they can see humans in three, like when they talk about it, in three different quote unquote spatial dimensions and time, but they're the only ones that can see it. We only see three-dimensional things for what they are, and throughout this entire 4 chapters we read, this is probably the most confusing of the book, the middle of it, because Kirkland continues to throw like confusing ideas and concepts our way, which actually makes you want to wonder whether or not there's actually something out, like someone out there, or everything was supposed to happen, or this entire life is an illusion.
I think that's probably like the most confusing part about the book is, like I mentioned this earlier, how he throws in how like Billy Pilgrim has these like some are illusions, some things are true that actually like
some are dreams, some are
that's the most
flashbacks.
That's the most confusing part of the book to me because I never know whether this is actually happening in the book or this is just what he's dreaming.
Yeah.
And that's one of the more powerful aspects to me, like Vonnegut, of like what Vonnegut does in this, because even though we can just dismiss like Pilgrim's a lunatic,
Yes,
the Trumpeters are fake, but the very concept that makes you ask questions, even though at first sight you're like, this is ridiculous, I shouldn't even buy this, but there's deeper thinking to it that really makes you question. So,
all right, so we're going to go to another commercial break. We will be right back with our listeners, but for right now, here's a little song for you.
That was Dream On by Aerosmith.
Relates back to the book
Definitely.
with
The title itself. Just
Billy,
the title.
slipping in and out.
Dreaming and Billy's
Psychological
mental
state.
state that he's in.
that might be the most accurate song that we've had so far.
I think so.
The title literally explains it. But for part 3, we're going to discuss Billy's time travel and how he's able to see the future, which is...
Or his perceived future.
Exactly, yeah. You know, his, like, the stimulants and, like, triggers, like, flash him through the moments in time.
Like, sorry for interrupting. Like,
no, you're good.
When, like, he was sent, what was that one example? When he was in the prison camp with all the prisoners, and they all got put into the showers, and once the hot water came down, you quit, like, instantly flash back to receiving a bath as a young child from his mom.
Yeah.
It's something that triggers his psychological state, which brings it back into time. And sorry, you can keep going.
Okay. No, you're fine.
I want to give you an example of it.
But, like, it's hard for him because he has no control over when these like anything could happen that reminds him of a memory. So like when these things occur, he can't control what he thinks, but he honestly like accepts that this is happening because he learns from these.
He gains,
it's like almost like a superpower.
yeah, he gains valuable information about what he needs to learn or like what happened in the future with like the plane crash.
Although it's not always accurate, but
Yeah.
he believes it to be accurate, which is why he appreciates it on every level.
I mean, I think it kind of. I can't see myself appreciating something like that because it would just be like a huge wave of emotions with what's going on. If I can see the future, I wouldn't know how to accept that.
And everybody else is gonna dismiss you as being insane.
Like I don't know, like you know how you said like he saw himself dying. I don't think I want to know how I died or when I died. Because then, like leading up to that day, I'd probably be like, "All right, well, I'm gonna die tomorrow." So, I don't care about the date as much. I don't want to know how.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can get an idea. But say you died at a young age, you're not gonna die of like natural causes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but like it's like I said earlier, it's hard because especially for the reader because you don't know whether it's an illusion or actually the actual
flashback.
But like some examples of the illusions were being assassinated with a laser gun, and then China dropping a hydrogen bomb on Chicago. So, being a Chicago native, I definitely hope that doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, with the accuracy of when he goes back in time, how can he tell what he sees forward in time?
Exactly.
You know, we talk about watching the World War II movie or.
Yeah,
watching forward and backward. Like, how would you want to watch a movie backward?
Like he goes to sleep, he like doesn't even know when he's gonna wake up or how long these dreams or the future illusions, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know when he's gonna be waking up, and then when he does wake up, it's because of time traveling. Like.
The psychological state is getting to him.
I don't think he, it's hard to explain, but once he realizes in his head that he's in a dream, like it's going into that very mental
it's going
state
deep
that he's in. Like, I don't know if that actually affects how he realizes that he's dreaming this. Like his head injuries that definitely take a toll on what he's thinking. But he was like, it says in the book, Billy was unconscious for 2 days after that, and he dreamed millions of things, some of which are true, and the true things were time travel.
Yeah, which brings back to the idea of like the flashbacks, time traveling, or the illusions that he would get. You said between him getting assassinated by a laser gun.
The true things were time travel. The fact that the idea of truth is just attached to time travel because of how much the accuracy that he believes.
Yes.
And then we talked about Vonnegut, how he was a character in his flashes, and this definitely threw off.
It threw off me.
It threw me off too.
Because like when we were talking about 1 through 3, when we talk about like maybe Vonnegut is Billy Pilgrim.
Do you buy into that?
Like I feel like his mental state is with Billy Pilgrim. Like relates to him a little bit, but since he put himself into the book, like maybe he just threw himself in there to throw off.
Yeah. Right.
A little bit.
That was my initial thought.
I was thinking we were going to end up with like a Fight Club dynamic where it turns out Vonnegut, they were the same person all along.
Exactly. So, like, because when they found out they were on the same train car, when I saw Kurt Vonnegut's book show up in the book, excuse me, that's when I stopped and I was like, hold on, wait. Now I thought about that for a while before I continued reading, like saying like, hold on, like, is it him or is it not? Because you share a lot of the same stuff. But I initially thought that, but now looking back at it, I feel like it's a kind of diversion to keep the readers away from thinking.
Right. I mean, Vonnegut has done a great job in throwing off the reader the entire book, so we can.
It's trippy.
It is a major trip. I mean, he's done a great job of confusing the readers. I mean, in a good way. I'm saying in a good way.
It's a good kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a good kind of.
It makes you think, and it makes you want to read more for sure. So we can expect that throughout the book as we continue reading.
Okay, so Thank you for listening to our podcast this week. We appreciate it greatly. I'm Big Mike.
I'm Right Guy.
And I'm CC.
And this is Chopping Up the Meat, signing off.
Signing off.